Welcome back to Alyssa's Movie Takes. If you are new to my channel, I welcome you here. I do reviews for movies and TV, especially when it comes to The Chosen. And I'm excited for a little bit of a crossover today because the movie that I'm reviewing is the best Christmas pageant ever. Yes, a little early in November, but we have the first Christmas movie of the season. It's the best Christmas pageant ever, starring Judy Greer and Pete Holmes. And I'm excited to take a look at it today. So what I do in my channel is I have three categories when I'm doing a review. The first is it sand? Is it just fun? What's fun about the movie? What was well done? What's just entertaining? The second category that I look at is quicksand. And quicksand is basically any pitfalls or traps that the movie falls into that may not be healthy. It's also just looking at the quality of the film. Is there anything that could be improved? And then finally, my last category is solid rock. And that is the wisdom that you could maybe glean or the lessons that are buried in there that we could apply to our everyday lives. I don't always do Christian movies, but I do try to come at it with the lens of what would me as a Christian take away from this movie. So let's jump into the best Christmas pageant ever. I'm excited to talk to you about it today. So first, with the sand. This movie is basically just like a Christmas cookie. It is a lot of fun. It is easy to digest. It's a book that's basically at a 4th or 5th grade level read. It was written in 1972. It stands the test of time because we still do Christmas pageants. We still celebrate Christmas and a lot hasn't changed. Although I will say, in the time period that this is set, which I think is probably the 40s or the 50s, the book is set 20 or 30 years before it's written. So you're looking at the 40s or the 50s, that the church is full. And that might be a contrast to today. Not every church is full of families on a Sunday morning. The pews are a little bit more empty today, so hopefully that can change. But when you look back and you just think, yeah, everybody went to church on a Sunday, but that is no longer the case. I think the casting that Dallas did and team did were really great. I loved Pete Holmes and Judy Greer in their roles. Both are comedians in a sense. Judy's done a wide range of movies. She even wrote a book about being the best friend in a film that she was often cast as the best friend, but she's basically the lead here. She plays Grace, the mom, who is suddenly thrown into directing the town's annual pageant, which of course used to be run by somebody who's task-oriented, who knows exactly how it's going to look. It's going to be perfect. Mary is going to be the golden girl. Joseph is going to be the pastor's son, and everything is going to run on a schedule. Whereas when Grace takes it over, the worst kids in the history of the world, the Herdmans, who are the school bullies of everybody, whether they're in your class or not, there's 6 of them, and they make lives miserable, the kids' lives miserable for anybody that they come in contact with. And they show up and basically take over the casting process. And Imogen, who's the oldest, says, I'm going to play Mary. My brother's going to play Joseph. My other brothers are going to play the wise men. And my little sister Gladys is going to play the angel of the Lord. What draws them to that, we don't know. It was a little bit risky in how they did it because they're strong on arming the other kids not to say yes, but we also get the story from that. The other part of this is just the nostalgia. Many of us might have read this as a kid. It is a fast read. I love fast reads where you're just like, I can sit down for 2 hours and finish this book. Best Christmas pageant ever. That is one of those books. And there's just something fun about the magic of Christmas, of when the story is set about remembering your memories at Christmas, and it just brings you right into that holiday mood. I also think that this movie has a lot of solid rock. It is a message film about the true meaning of Christmas. It falls right in line with something like A Charlie Brown Christmas, which is about busy people trying to put on a play, remembering what the true meaning is, so that Jesus died for everyone. And Jesus was born for everyone, including the Herdmans. So I did like this idea of how immediately Dallas showed that these kids, the Herdmans, are hurting. That you see them as villains, they're introduced as villains, but almost immediately you just know they don't have parents who are involved. Imogen is taking on a lot more than she probably should. They're hurting and they hurt other people. And I was surprised at how quickly into this movie that I started to cry. So Imogen is sneaking into a movie with her brothers, which they say that they do a lot, and she loves the idea of being an actress. And she looks at this poster, and I believe it said Far From Here was the name of it, and it had this beautiful woman looking out into the wilderness, thinking about being somewhere else but here. And the way that Beatrice Snyder, who plays Imogene, did it, and did so much of her face acting, I just found myself tearing up right away. And that kept happening throughout the course of the movie. And at the climax, when everybody's crying, I was, my eyes were in pain because whatever, maybe it was my makeup, but I was like, oh my goodness, this is so many tears. I was not expecting this. Although I should have, because when Dallas and Amanda announced that they were going to do this last year, they were all tearing up at how moving it is. And I think that if you're not from the faith-based audience, this is still worth seeing, because it's about community. It's about what it means to be a good neighbor. The church often is really good at overseas missions, but half the time you never actually meet the people that you're serving. And so this is a really great reminder that Jesus is for our neighbors and not just for strangers, and that our kindness needs to extend to those who we don't always get along with, but that kindness has the opportunity many times to change the course of someone's future. And that's the case that happens with the Herdmans. So you just watch them change. And really, despite the treatment of people around them in the church, Imogene especially has a real encounter with the living God, incarnate through a baby. So very special, true to the book. The one thing that I will say about Quicksand, I don't think I have much criticism other than to say this is a choice and I understand it, but it's a little less cinematic in that way, in that it feels more like radio theater because they have Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls be the narrator. And so it feels very much like you're showing up to story hour at the local library and she's just going to share the story with you, because her narration continues throughout the entire movie as if she was just reading from the book. So that was a choice. I don't know if he had to do that, but once I was in it, I thought, okay, we're just being read a Christmas story. And sort of like you, with the Christmas pageant, the kids don't have lines except for Gladys, who says, hey, unto you a child is born. The kids don't have lines because Judy Greer's character, Grace, is just reading the Bible story and they're pantomiming it out. So there's a parallel there in that Lorelai, I'm sorry, not Lorelai, Lauren Graham, who played Lorelai, is reading the story and then the kids are acting it out in front of you. So it parallels the pageant feel that is in the book. So that's my take on the best Christmas pageant ever. So much fun. Shout out to Dallas Jenkins and his team for bringing us such a wonderful, warm film that will be enjoyable. I hope you get to see it this weekend, just for the sake of, giving them long legs. I'm going again with my small group today. I went on Friday myself, but I really enjoyed it. I hope that maybe when it's Thanksgiving and the kids are around and the whole family, that this is a good option to go and see. It's going to warm your heart. It's going to make you cry probably a little bit, but it will be a great add to the Christmas movies going forward.